Bonjour mes amis, bienvenue dans ce nouvel interview avec le vampire. Merci d'avoir regardé. I don't get very political on my channel. I mean, outside of my commentary, my stream of consciousness commentary, and how I tie politics and my opinion into the subject material. So I will simply leave it at this. It has been a very stressful 48 hours. It's been a stressful longer time, but it's been sure months, but it's been very stressful for a lot of us as of late. I'd say for a lot of us, yes, that's a good majority. We come to this place.
We come to this place for magic.
To not worry about that. And let's get into this. This is what we're here for. I hope you are all well. Those that are, less privileged than I am, I just stay safe, be smart, and we're gonna get through all this. Don't worry. Everybody will get through all this. This too shall pass. The world is not ending, though sometimes it may feel like it. Believe me, I know. I've been bottom of the psychological barrel before. Love you all. Whatever you want to say. Peace, namaste, Mariska Hargate.
Mariska Hargitay. Mariska Hargitay.
That being said, here we are back with Anne Rice's interview with the vampire. If you're on Patreon, you're watching this a week early, perhaps even earlier based on what my editing schedule is like. But Patreon members get early access to the interview with the vampire reactions. Thank you very much for all the support. I am low-key hyped for this. The cliffhanger from the last one and getting into I got no clue what's gonna happen. Are you kidding me? I don't know what I'm looking at right now. That being said, before we hop into episode 5, I was told I missed a couple things, and I did feel like one particular scene didn't stick with me as hard as it should have. I want to pop back over to specifically the when Rashid is talking about the painting, because I, in my infinite foolishness, didn't even realize that the painting was him. I don't know why it went over my head. I was so focused on the paradigm, the dynamic of like Dreamstott and Louis and Rashid that I wasn't paying attention. With subtitles, so I don't miss the context, I am going to rewatch this scene real quick.
A contemporary of my maker.
Marius de Romanus. And then the actual painter was...
The adoration of the shepherds with Adorner. Palma Vecchio.
Palma Vecchio, who was a contemporary of his creator. I just want to get all this down, like low-key.
A contemporary of my maker, Marius de Romanus, also a fine painter, albeit one of lesser skill. In fact, the donor in the title was my maker. The canvas painted in my maker's studio, and
the donor of the title was my maker.
In this case, the donation was, what is the modern word for it? In kind.
I see.
This is Amadeo.
Amadeo.
He's 20 years here. He was rescued from a brothel when he was 15, named Arun then, I think.
I see. The problem for me was when he was going over this painting, it didn't click with me that he was speaking about himself.
Cannot be sure. The abuse in the brothel was such that he cannot be sure that is what his parents named him, Arun. The parents that sent him to work on a merchant boat in Delhi when in actuality they had sold him into slavery to the ship's captain, shackled on the boat, the brothel, my maker's purchase, his renaming me, his reluctance to share the dark gift.
That's where it lost. I didn't pay attention well enough
knowing what
to
it would
sentence.
do to his beloved Amadeo.
Amadeo.
I served him with all my heart, basked in his mercy, his worshipful mercy.
Troubled history and backstory.
Amadeo had a skill. And if a friend wandered into town, I was, occasionally, donated.
I see. I feel terrible. I am so sorry that I missed out on that part. And then people, thankfully people in the comments pointed out to me the fact that like how complicated this relationship is now becoming. Louis the pimp, ex-pimp, whatever you want to call him, but Louis the pimp and I don't want to say Armand the whore or anything like that, but someone who was often pimped out, essentially. So problematic. Our trauma repeats itself. But I cannot believe that went over my
Tear
head.
in the forearms. But then this was
The subtitles do kind of help.
7 years before I was stricken with illness, before I was turned and imbued with my powers.
And Armand?
Meteor in the forearms. So literally, he was stricken with illness, and then he was turned. So he was turned. I guess, does that also suggest that wherever you are physically with your body, so whether you're like thin, muscly, fat, like whatever your body type is, once you're turned, you just like stay that way? Even if your metabolism speeds up, you just are indefinitely stuck, both physically and like mentally / psychologically?
The name the Coven in Rome gave me after they set fire to the studio,
And freed you?
set fire to my maker, and
Rome.
sent me to Paris
Rome Coven killed his maker.
to reign over the Coven, abandoned by Magnus. Am I my history I have endured? Am I the job I do not want? I do not know anymore. No one has painted me in over 400 years.
Oh, okay. All right, cool. All right. I get it now. And that's a whole lot to get into as well, but I shan't because we're here to speak about episode 5. But that scene has now fully settled and sunk in with me. It's the one thing that I somehow mentally glossed over. My apologies. And I appreciate the call out being like, hey, movie man, you might have missed a little something back there. But now here we are with on something about this title I love. Don't be afraid, just start the tape. Like literally, it's been like you know how it's like come to me. Like in my head the last several days leading up to recording this, I just keep repeating the title of it. And like from when Louis said it as a peek into the episode and whatnot from the last episode, just don't be afraid, just start the tape. There's something haunting about it for me. I see. Mental health once. Oh no, it's gonna be rough again. Oh no. Obviously, trigger warning and advisory. Glasses are coming off here. They are just blue light, by the way, because I'm a faker daker. But no, it's because I'm staring at screens all day and I'm going back into a glasses phase.
Because they make me look handsome.
No interview avec le vampire experience would be complete without some little liquid courage. Today we are going with Bullet Bourbon Frontier Whiskey. Almost went with some rye tonight, but you know what? I was like, I want something that's like going to be full body and have a bit more flavor while still having that kick. I haven't had bourbon in a minute.
Everybody calls me Bourbon.
I think we're ready. Fresh page and notes. Somebody said, dude, this episode might be 2 hours for you. We'll see, won't we? A Talamasca agency has made contact with Daniel Malloy mid-interview and shadow dropped a plethora of files going over hundreds of years of just historical like data from, like images, pictures, ticket stubs, photography and history of the theater, locations, suspected victims. One of these files that he opened up were his tapes, which he had deleted. If we were to believe him, he deleted and they were set on fire. But not only do we have these tapes, but we have these tapes with, quote, enhanced audio. And as he started to play it, and you could hear new voices on the tapes, that tells us that this is going to be the first time he might hear the truth. All we know about the old interviews in San Francisco is that it ended in a bit of an attack against Daniel. And then Armand, when he revealed his hand at the end of season 1, he's like, I won't be around this time. I won't save you from Louis this time, basically. So we know that Daniel wasn't 100% level-headed, looking to score, potentially even somebody suggested engage in like sexual exploits in order to score. Hell, they met at a bar. Something tells me Daniel might have been a victim, like a potential victim of Louis, but we know for a fact Armand was there. And for some reason, Daniel Malloy does not remember him at all. But he's getting these snippets in that room. A room I can only assume is in San Francisco. Wooden flooring. There's bodies being disposed of, probably from being fed on. Used to sell old Playboys and all this. Like, is it as if Armand's getting into his head? Or I feel like it's going to be some sleeper agent thing. Like Daniel saw too much, got attacked. And then Armand, did some type of ancient vampire trick on him to make him forget, so he'd only remember being there with Louis. It is hard to say, but something tells me there's going to be some earth-shattering content and revelations. I'm excited for it. And notice, look at that, notice as we change locations, we are now saddled between our usual Dubai, but instead, is that the Golden Gate Bridge I spy? Could it possibly be? So, unworthy in Dubai. Here we are headed over here to be unworthy in San Francisco. Episode 12. Don't be afraid. Just start the tape.
A less dictatorial approach to the coven is embraced by my love. We broke into the same library every night that month.
Look at Daniel. He's so just like, oh, he's just listening to this point. They're walking down memory lane. They're reminiscing on their lives and all this. They've gotten into a rhythm of formula of just, have him asking what happened next. Not to mention, Daniel's got to get his head back on straight. Like, yes, he's had the run-in with Talamasca. Yes, there's plenty of new files being dropped his way. Revelations at hand, I'm sure. But he's letting himself be so easily distracted by all this incoming data. He can read that in his off time or like in little breaks, but he can't be digging into these files mid-interview unless they offer some crazy revelations. But they also have almost been his undoing when like he brought up the fire at the theater and they're like, well, we haven't brought that up yet.
Funny thing, trying to remember what occupied one's time when one was ignorant of the plotting around him.
Grab that.
Santiago had broken into our park. I'm sorry, grab what?
Oh, it's just a note to my assistant. It's nothing.
What did you want to grab, Daniel?
The line?
Eternal life ahead of us. Funny thing, trying to remember what occupied one's time when one was ignorant of the plotting around him.
It's a thing with syntax. I see it a lot. The impersonal pronoun, one, one's time, one didn't, becomes the third person, him. Stops being I or me.
And that indicates what?
You're circling something. You're getting close to something you want distance from. Language as a chicken exit on a roller coaster.
Or it's daytime, and the vampire of Louis' age is fighting the narcoleptic pull of the sun.
Or he's just eepy, right?
That.
Interesting. No, he's right. Daniel Malloy's a good interviewer. Who's this guy with the shades? Yeah, he knows what he's talking about. It's impersonalization. Speaking in the third person, more or less. One's time. What would one do? Dude, that reminds me. Was it Bundy who did vile, despicable, horrible, brutal acts and deeds for so long and got away with it? And he never ever directly confessed for years. And then finally, death row was looming. And he finally lets this reporter in to actually interview him. And all these interviews, he's given his life story, talking about these tragedies occurring around him, won't crack. And then finally, out of desperation, thinking, this might be my ticket out of here. Maybe I can live if I try to give the reporter something, anything. What does he do? He doesn't say, I did this. He this bastard says, well, if I had done this, if someone were to have done this, then it seems the most logical way of doing it would be to, and then basically confesses without the personal pronoun. You know what I'm saying? It's tangentially related in terms of what he's referring to.
Is this Malik?
You're gonna chase me down in your little Jimmy Choo sneakers, huh?
Chase me
Shall we take our
down?
business to the living room?
Who are they?
They are not your concern.
Hey, who are you?
Friends?
If you'll excuse us.
Chase me down?
Your friend here is a hot-headed young man, huh? Good thing to be. Tell him to buy a Bugatti, crash it into the guardrails.
He's no okay. Tell your friend to get himself killed so maybe you and I can have a little fun together. I love the non-straightforward circuitous writing. I feel like circuitous is derivative in nature. It's the writing that can say so much while saying so little. If that makes any sense. You have a sentence, and lesser shows would just be I killed him. But then a show like this would be found myself in the regrettable position to relieve one of his mortal coil. You know what I'm saying? It'd just be a very circuitous way of saying it, but in a way that's not straightforward. But you're oh, I see. We just said it very poetically.
What was that?
Robert Frost over here.
Armand rarely eats, so when he does, he prefers to hunt for it.
Does Malik know he's lunch?
Are you recording?
No.
Malik knows if he makes it on foot to Jumeirah Mosque by evening, he'll be paid enough crypto to, well, most anything he wants.
if he makes it. That's not fair sport. There's no way he knows they're vampires.
Has anyone ever cashed in?
Often it's someone carefully chosen for the harm he does the world with his chosen profession.
And when he
Oh, here we go again. Often vampires kill in peace, huh?
can't find an arms dealer dumb enough to answer his ad?
Someone half in love with an easeful death.
That's exactly what I was talking about. Either suicidal or lives a reckless lifestyle. And that guy didn't seem to be too much on the straight and narrow. His shade spoke for themselves. Gets people to answer his ad and says, hey, I'm going to hunt you down. If you can make it to this location in the city, then you get to walk away with as much money as will get you anything you desire. But of course, not disclosed to the young man and or woman or individual is you're being hunted by a fucking vampire. That's twisted. It's not enough to have people that are willing to sacrifice themselves, like at Louis' feet, right? The ones that are like, feed off me, sir, for it is the greatest purpose and pleasure I have in life to feed a higher living being such as yourself, to outsource via like disreputable millionaires to coerce into this like dangerous game that they're unaware of and then hunt them for sport. Oh, vampires, they're a peaceful killing kind.
He's ditching us.
He'll have Malik begging for it in an hour. His methodology, it's never violent, I assure you.
Again, it's never violent. It's never violent. Vampires, inherently, never violent. We just burn our own kin alive if they disregard the rules. We just slowly bleed them dry if they make art the wrong way. We kill out of passion if we feel like we've been slighted. Again, those flashbacks. I think those flashbacks are the mental dam cracking and breaking. Like, my assumption, my semi-tinfoil hat crazy theory is that Armand did something, whether it's a ritual or some type of like psychological trickery. He did something to Daniel Malloy that has caused the suppression of the memories, right? And now somehow, I think because he's been in Armand's presence and now he's a mixture of like remembering, but also when he's been informed about what the truth actually was, him being told that Armand was actually there was probably the first little the first little crack in the dam. And from there, the water's just been like eating away and just like wearing down from inside. Also, kind of risky to have all these photos from the theater just pulled up randomly.
Follow up with the vampire Armand about diet and exercise. And once again, Louis alone with himself. Everything in its right place before the theater burns down.
In middle school, you stole your dad's Playboy magazine, sold them at recess.
Sorry.
A little dirty, a little deceitful, but it's enterprising. Is that what makes you fascinating?
The coffin!
In high school, you told a girl you'd only do her
Rest
if she
the
had a
coffin.
paper bag
Daniel.
over her head. She agreed, and you did it.
Daniel.
The dam's breaking. The dam's breaking. He thought he hit the record button, but he didn't hit the record button, or he's not seeing the record. That curse is a bit cleaner. By the way, I low-key, I didn't realize when I was insulting Daniel Malloy's handwriting. I was like, oh, yeah, he does have Parkinson's, doesn't he? Oh, here's that notepad again. Oh, no, I know what they are. They're him remembering. Okay, it's not just what Armand is saying. It's literally what he's remembering from his flashbacks. I assume the focus of those scenes is the fact that he has the "this time I won't save your life" always centered in the frame and always underlined.
How long is your boyfriend's lunch again?
An hour, 2 at most.
What you gonna do now that you have Louis alone again? Here's the thing. All vampires are driven emotionally, but we've seen that although Armand, he has like this sentimentality and this melancholy regarding his past that he will often dredge up again here and there. But in terms of Louis, I think Louis is clearly the more emotional one. And between the two of them, Daniel has been able to, I don't want to say break Louis, but has been able to get through past the surface and get some actual good moments out of him, even like provoking or helping get him to an eventual breakdown. So I feel like we might be able to get some truths out of Louis now that it's just the two of them alone again.
Let's change it up. Something he said on his initial flight to the bookshelves caught my ear.
Initial
This time
flight.
I won't save your life.
Armand saved you from me in 1973.
Yeah, you bit me, I blacked out, he ripped you off me, dumped me in a drug den.
Yes.
500 years, hundreds of thousands of kills. How often has Armand spared a life?
Fair point.
Armand could see I was partial to you. Armand preserves my happiness, even when I don't or can't. He had a hunch you might prove fruitful in later times.
Okay, sure. Let's go with that. Our first interview.
I love as an actor, by the way, as someone with Parkinson's that occasionally flares up, he's never egregious with it, right? It's little moments like right there, just the smallest of things. Sometimes it flares up, or sometimes it's controlled by, vampiric, wow, wow, like whatever you want to call that, like manipulation of the blood or something. But right there, very, very subtle shake. He readjusts, puts his hand back down, and pushes forward. Just something that he's used to dealing with. He's pushing through it, but a little touch by the actor. I really like that.
We had drinks, you paid. We cabbed to your place in Divisadero, you paid.
That's right.
Did we...
Oh boy, here we go. But here's the other part of this, because we all know about unreliable narrators, right? So is the story that Louis is going to tell Daniel Malloy, how accurate is this story? I mean, I'm sure it'll be based in truth, right? And Daniel's memory will come back a little bit, but do we actually get to see what really happened?
Getting some bail bondsman, post-divorce vibes.
I own a few of these places.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Multiple property. Must be nice.
Many. I own a lot of things.
What's your connotation there, huh? What's this chemistry here, huh? Oh, doors open whenever you're ready there, Playboy. Jacket.
Does that scare you, boy?
Corduroy? Does that scare you, boy?
So you climb in it, close the lid, and bang?
Sometimes.
I'm in countercultures. So am I the first guy that you brought back here?
The fifth.
Definitely not. I was about to say.
Old-timey fun from the Sasanian Empire.
Oh, jeez.
Cheeseburgers or chicken chow mein. Take your pick.
Smorgasbord for an addict. Hey, look, cocaine.
What do I seem like now, boy?
The veteran of many wars.
Keeps calling him boy. Keeps calling him boy. Why? Now, there's the obvious answer. But this show's never about the obvious answer. Thought it was playful at first. Maybe it's just a flirtatious thing. This little cherub of a guy over here. Very impersonal. Want to address him by his name. Perhaps he's meant to be a target, a victim, and something more happens. Or, I don't know.
Cocaine's a fun boy's drug. I'm not fun.
I'm a fun boy.
Suit yourself.
Yeah, let him get all drugged up. Have your way, I guess.
I prefer you like this. All dark and real. Maybe I could, cheer you up.
Oh.
What are you doing?
Easy there, Tiger.
Fulfilling my side of the social contract.
Do you normally interview your subjects with your shirt off?
So, we didn't.
I see. But we do love a bisexual king. Very interesting.
No.
Oh, look at that.
I really thought we did.
First of all, when's the last time I've seen this guy smile in even a semi-genuine way? It's almost alarming. It's like when I heard Logan Roy laugh in Succession, like...
Fill up on mustard.
It's like a spooky thing, seeing Daniel Malloy smile like that. But again, this right here, was it raining that night, Louis? Did we have sex, Louis? No, I don't think it was raining. Perhaps it was. No, we didn't have sex. You also thought Armand wasn't there, even though he ended up being there. Why don't I try...
You want to now? He sometimes lingers when boats come into harbor. San Francisco. Psychedelics, disco biscuits, angel powders, and young men. Just about every night I lived there. You offered something off the menu.
Louis DuPoint Delac from New Orleans.
DuPoint Delac.
You specialize in low-end real estate.
I like predicting what overlooked product will flourish in time. Low-end property, little-known art. Worth is often miscalculated.
It's a good point.
You?
Minor factors. You can squeeze profit out of that margin.
Did you gravitate to San Fran as a hub for homophiles?
Provoking questions right here. See, a bit more bold and brash. He's still bold as an interviewer nowadays. He still says things that are provocative, but he's doing so sober nowadays. This one, he's high on cocaine. He's drinking. He was like ready to be all horned up and all that. So he's just here lackadaisically taking an interview, we're going to see some marked differences in how he conducts himself and like handles an interview in general. Even right there.
As a hub for homophiles?
Bit of a jump. Raised eyebrow there.
Paris.
Doesn't take the bait.
In the 1940s, with its permissive, laissez-aller sexual atmosphere, was the more formative liberation for me.
Yeah.
Take this seriously.
I am.
Says the pot calling the kettle black over here. You're not even recording? Oh, for right.
I forgot to put a tape in.
I'm a vampire.
Okay. I mean, I'm really interested to know why you believe that.
Well, there you go.
Are those fangs?
Are those fangs, man?
Are you the Zodiac Killer?
Yes, probably. Well, you're a little bit sober now, are you? At least a bit sweaty. You gonna take this seriously? Dude is literally blasted. He's drunk, high at the same time. Dude's crossfaded. Yeah, and he's still going. And he's gonna be to the substance. It's like me right now, dude. I'm like, yeah, sip of the thing. I gets the nice burn going. Then you hit it off with the. That's like the diet version of that. Dude literally was like, okay, look. All right, here we go. Nip it in the gums, nip it in the mouth, light up real quick. All right. Dude's activating all of his chakras right now.
Don't be afraid.
Just start the tape.
Just start the tape.
But of course, Louis, ever the self-reverent man, wants this all committed on tape. So that's his only concern here. Perhaps there's some truth in that he becomes like partial to Daniel as a person, as a character. Probably, well, I shouldn't say character, as a person. But at the end of the day, Louis, I always see him at like vampires like hearing themselves talk a lot, especially Louis, who's always very reverent.
You weren't always a vampire.
I was a 33-year-old man when I became a vampire.
And how did it come about?
There's a simple answer to that. I don't believe I want to give simple answers. I want to tell the real story.
The way that he speaks, it's almost like he's rehearsed this. Like there's a certain cadence to his speaking. It doesn't feel like an interview being conducted. It's not just like, oh, how did you become a vampire? Well, you see, well, it happened like this. He's like, no, I want to tell a story. There's no simple answer to what happened to me, but something much more complex. It just feels rehearsed to me.
You smoked shaky cigarette after shaky cigarette. You shook more then than you do now.
What I remember most, other than that you were an alien 5 feet from me, was how eager you were to spill. No coaxing on my part, no journalism per se.
You were terrified of me, Daniel.
You were lonely, Louis.
Ooh,
it was gratifying to tell you what I was after mingling with humans for so long.
You weren't thrill-seeking. You were floundering. Tape after tape of emotional upchuck.
Where's this leading, Daniel?
It's like therapy.
I have some outstanding questions about 1973. Why you talked to me in the first place?
You had curiosity, swagger.
Nah.
I would chat for a few hours, and then who would come looking
You're
if
getting
another
agitated.
drug-addled homophile disappeared?
Malik will be dead in 2 hours. You've made me an accessory to murder, and you've had 13 sessions. I want 20 minutes. For me. I want to know, for me, what happened between us. Okay?
Damn.
Okay.
Getting personal here.
Okay.
Best you can do.
Then let me ask you this, Daniel.
Or we're getting to the core of it. What happened?
What's the next thing you remember?
You eviscerating Lestat.
He had a dark pull, a numbing affect on the senses. He was a handsome Satan.
Yeah, I mean, I know the type.
You stripped away his superficial charms beneath his flimsy gentleman's veneer. Trivial, vapid, vulgar, maniacal, blind and sterile and contemptible.
He's saying it as if he wants Lestat to hear this, as if he finally has the courage to say it all. Again, like Daniel was saying, emotional upchuck. Like he's trying to, like he just wants to get all this off his chest. He needs this like therapy session here. I know he was referring to Nolans, but it's I was a rougher thing back then. He's a rougher thing back here too. It's so curious to see how his description of Lestat has changed and how everything is now he conducts and holds himself in this more like civilized light. We're here in Dubai, and I think I finally found my inner peace, and here's what I feel. It's all calm now, but then every now and then we see the emotional veneer cracks.
Big time asshole. He appeared frail and stupid to me. A man made of dried twigs with a thin, carping voice. And for all that Lestat boasted about his love of music, he played without an iota of feeling.
So somebody on my Patreon did say that like Louis is the kind that like is still talking about their ex, like still loves them and like misses them low key, but just can't quit talking just mad trash about them in the meantime. Just
like, I hate that Lestat. What a terrible person. There's nothing good about him. He wasn't that handsome, wasn't that talented.
How is he anyway? How's he doing? Like,
yeah, but you were suggestible. I mean, he lured you in, you know? He's a faker, but you figured that out.
Right there, he said it. You were suggestible, he lured you in. That was my very first accusation in episode 1 that I took so much flack for, was that Lestat's methods, though maybe I admit there's a foundation of genuine attraction and perhaps love in there as well, I still believe that his courtship was kind of like predatorial, and not because of the homosexual proclivities, but just because it was predatorial. Like he turned Louis at his weakest, most mentally and physically, not even physically, most mentally like vulnerable state. And people were like, you don't understand love.
You paid a biblical price for your first love. I'm sorry.
What?
I didn't mean to.
No. That was astute, boy.
Boy.
You see?
Again with the boy.
You were nimble-minded even back then.
I was a moron.
Will you, do the fang thing again?
I love that, man. Just for reference, that was Louis DePoint-de-Lac just now, making his fangs come out. The tape ran out. It's just a small 30-minute thing.
If I had been an actual journalist and, you know,
Lord.
not fried on coke and lewds, I would have
Allegedly.
realized what a dangerously unstable psyche I was with.
Yes.
Because the next thing that happened was you detonated.
I sat on that bench in Jackson Square, watched Claudia disappear into the night.
I'm kind of with her. Get off that bench, brother.
I pictured her on the platform.
But from Louis' perspective, who has he really truly had to talk to about this? Like, what, do you think he went to a therapist? I think he's got too much pride for a therapist. Not to say he's a naturally prideful person or like an egomaniac. I mean, we've seen him throughout his entire life. He couldn't turn to family. Like, he turned to Lestat for a little bit, but then I kind of devolved into like, at first it was emotional comfort, and then it became more just like physical comforts. And then he had Claudia, but then, you know, there's some things you can't really talk to Claudia about. And then there's that whole triangle there. I mean, this is pretty much, I've already said it a few times, but this pretty much is like, was probably his first genuine therapy session. And the worst person to have said session with, let alone the fact that like 70s Daniel is like on 70s drugs.
And then what?
Then what?
Or is it daytime?
I had nothing. Nothing but the bench I was sitting on. So I stayed on it.
Almost till the morning.
All I had to do was watch the sun come up, let it bleach my bones, purify the putrid soul.
Are you kidding me? What, you were just gonna end it? I mean, what about life? Like...
Oh, it's just the part where he's like, you don't recognize the gift that you have, man. Then he gets attacked on those tapes.
Joy rides, and night swimming, and marriage, and cancer, and all of that till the death rattle. I mean, we gotta carry all this shit, and you had to take it out, and you were just gonna throw it away?
You've overstepped now, boy.
Listen,
Very indelicate.
No, obviously you didn't do it, but
still calling him
you
boy.
were given the gift, and I've been hearing you bitch the night away about it. And since you used the past tense about her, I figured she...
She what?
Is dead?
Well, I can see where this is going, and...
And what?
Give it to me. I won't waste it. I think you could use me. I think we have an energy, you and me. I could be your Lestat, your Claudia, but better. I mean, I got a little bit of both of them in me, plus a few things they don't.
This,
Jesus.
after all I've told you, is what you asked for, boy!
Yeah, well, you don't know what human life is like. I mean, you've forgotten, man. I mean, you don't understand the meaning of your own story. Hey, stop!
Suicide Hotline 101. Don't say to the person on the other end of the line, hey, why don't you cheer the up?
I overreacted.
Not sure that kill
You poked and prodded the bear. And again, it's Louis' suicidal ideations that he constantly has throughout the show. That's true.
killing me was a totally warranted response to my idiocy.
I took a scoop out of your throat.
I deserve to have my ass kicked for the sheer number of times I said, and then what?
All the drugs in your blood, it all went back into me. Probably why I
Cornerstone
can't
of
remember
prize-winning
anything past.
journalism. And then what?
Being a bit of a dick, yeah. Queuing it up.
A hesitation.
I have a surprise for you. Kind of a curveball, which will seem like less of a surprise and more like ambush.
Is that our original interview?
Maybe.
Turns out I had a copy saved in the cloud.
You're a liar, Dad.
So are you, Louis. Whether you know it or not. You remember the 9 minutes at the end?
This is a fair tit for tat.
Eddie Hutton drowning out.
Oh, here we go. Dude, this is the grave will out the truth here. Okay. That's a fair point, though. Because, yeah, he lied about the file, but now Louis is lying about what happened back then. We have enhanced audio that's revealed that something more than what Louis is letting on happened here. So, cool. We both lied. All right, now we're both going to maybe tell the truth. And why is this not staying on red?
Well, she cleaned it up a bit. Press pause on the betrayal of it all, and...
Then Armand gets back. Damn!
That thud, that's Armand saving me.
Almost put him through the wall.
What? Morning!
I lost time. Things got a little heated.
With a boy. Things got heated with a boy. I was at home picking lint off the sofa.
I said to join us.
The night's gone, the room's soiled, and once again I'm here with mop and mindlessness to clean it up.
So the room got dirty. So what? I'll clean it up.
No, I clean it up. You make the mess and I clean it up. Mark it on the calendar, align it with Ursa Major, Louise Triannual. Off and find me with apologies to follow.
I'm sorry.
The street comfort in the arms of lowlifes and unfortunates and broken children, fine.
And now the drugs, and now, like he said, the drugs are all in his system right now. So now, of course, he's going to be even loosier and goosier. And anger and all these emotions, of course, you through him.
Fine, that doesn't sound like fun.
But revealing our nature to a reporter. You met in a bar 10 hours ago. What if it was published?
I was having some
We don't have
fun.
enough to
I
fear
was in
from
the
Paris.
middle of ending things when
No,
you...
you already passed out on the floor next to him, Louis. Out on your feet from the drugs you stuffed him
this
with.
is boring. You're boring. You are so boring.
And here come the drugs.
Colorless.
Up the flanks,
Flavorless.
down the throat,
Yep.
Dull.
to the heart, and off
Dull.
the fingers, feet,
Dull
and
nights.
wallowing brain.
Dull weeks. Suffocation by the world's
No breathing.
softest, beigest pillow. The 10 hours I spent.
Suffocation by the world's softest, beigest pillow. Jesus.
With that boy,
Boy.
more exciting, more fascinating than decades with you.
Yikes. Hurtful. Hurtful, Louis.
Oh, there it is. The half blank, half apocalyptic look. But what does it mean tonight? Huh? Does he want to lick my boots or chop my hands off? Is it the gremlin or the good nurse tonight? Huh?
The gremlin of the good nurse says, "I see that look in your eye. Do you want to lick my boots or chop my head off?" I'm not sure I like that. This power dynamic here, where he's like, "Hey, do you want to be this?" For lack of a better term, it's like, "Oh, we topping, we bottoming," but like Armand came in swinging, but now Louis seems to have taken emotional control over the encounter, and is pulling on relationship and history therein right now.
But am I as boring as the blather committed onto the ferric tapes of your fascinating boy? Oh, it's so hard to be me.
Picking lint
It's so
off
hard
the
to kill
sofa?
humans.
I can feel her feelings. That's how Louis the Porter gets so hard to put your head away.
Everyone I know wrongs me.
Okay.
Oh no.
Let's wake the boy up. And let's try.
Oh, woe is me, he says. It sounds almost like Louis and Lestat going at it right now.
You. I'm the vampire Armand, and my daddy vampire grew me into a little bitch.
Oh,
The
yeah.
vampires have murdered my daddy.
My
Made me
sister,
pretend I
she
didn't have
buried
a
me
dick
alive.
for 240 years.
My daughter was my sister, was my throw pillow when he wouldn't look at me kindly. Lestat.
About him the whole time.
The name!
There you go.
The name! Unuttered in our home for 23 years, said over and over again until it was pounding in my brain like a hammer.
Our problems aren't about him.
And you threw her name around just for cover, but it always circled back to him.
I loved her.
But she didn't love you.
Ooh.
Not like he did.
Oh, damn. Let's start. Literally, this whole show is just, that's the only name you got conking around in that noggin. Damn, I loved her, but she didn't love you, not like he did. Holy sh.
Like I have.
Ooh.
I know! Yes.
All right, we're going to open up.
Creeping back. Embarrassed. And the, what the hell is all of it? Can you hear that? Can you hear her? She's calling me.
Okay.
I think that's you running out of the room. Hear that? Second door slam, farther off. What's that second door slam?
Going outside.
First door opens. Slam. Footsteps.
Second door.
Second door slams.
Suicide attempt.
Metal door. Armand calls your name. He runs after you. Metal door opens.
Did he suppress a suicide attempt?
A few more seconds. Tape runs out. Where does Armand follow you, Louis?
Outside.
It's morning. You went out of the room.
There really is a recurring theme. Louis and his suicidal ideation. Or tendencies, rather. But I think he genuinely suppressed it.
I walked into the sun.
You remember that?
I'm remembering it now.
Here we go. Oh, here we go.
Let me ask you a really loaded question, Louis. And then what?
My skin burnt to the color of pitch. Tar coming off me.
The pain.
Like a siren. Like a noise in my body. I walked out into the sun.
I think so.
Pieces of my life gone. I knew who I was without those pieces.
Wait. Sidestep the big picture. Get the story straight first.
Jesus. Oh, I dredged up some personal trauma of mine. Not trying to burn myself alive or anything. Dude, that's
Must be
intense.
exquisite.
What happened?
You drained a drug fiend. You said the worst things you've ever said to me. And then you ran outside. And now you're a convalescent.
I'm sorry.
Meaningless word.
Huh?
Meaningless.
Damn. Damn.
The floor slants slightly north. The boy's blood flowed that way. We should fix that before we sell.
He's alive?
The boy. The fascinating boy. He's fine. He's just fine.
Don't.
Oh, he's fine.
Oh,
You're
God.
fine. This is fine. We're all fine.
You two kept me in that apartment for how long?
You were there, Daniel.
I don't remember. That's why I'm asking.
Jesus.
I can remember a few things. Like,
Dude, Armand tortured you for...
there's someone else there.
He's fine.
A cellophane corpse on the floor.
Meaningless word. Meaningless.
This music. This is scary. We're seeing the wrath of Armand unfold as the normally like wonderful orchestral score has devolved into this like discordant, like scratchy.
Neighbor saw you while he was taking out the trash. I had to chase him down.
There's a TV in the corner near the corpse. Some kind of sock or shoe commercial. These sheets of plastic tarp, some duct tape, bleach. Surely I'm next.
Oh,
I
God.
can see him walking out of the bedroom. I can hear you, but I can't see you. The door frame is blocking you.
I love how like we're getting both sides of the recollection here now that the memories are flowing back in. We have Louis telling him whatever he could hear. Daniel like recount and being able to like recollect the trauma of what he's seen.
Yeah, he ejects the tape, presses play.
I hear my voice on the recorder.
They represented the greatest loss to Lestat because they stood on the threshold of maximum possibility of
Rest.
life. Lestat didn't understand this himself. Lestat understood nothing.
Curious.
Armand stands over you. He's commandeered your body.
Rise. Armand. From Polynesian Mary's, I was with Louis.
I can't
Move your body.
I don't want
To die. On that item. I think I know something you don't. I'm told you've lived a fascinating life.
I never said that.
No, Louis did.
Leave him alone, Armand.
You held Louis's attention.
Oh.
He confessed his innermost secrets to you.
I wanted
How?
drugs. We didn't even have sex.
128 boys he's brought here.
He's at 5.
And you're the first he didn't
128?
consummate and drain. That makes you special.
Please, man. Look, I'm just a shitty little kid from
That
Modesto.
warrants investigation.
I could be on my knees in a second.
Bartering with desire, is that what makes you fascinating?
He didn't even want me in the end. I mean, look at my neck.
Oh, dude. See, Armand is like, I'm sure he'd be dead by now, but literally Armand's thinking big picture. Of course, Louis lied, as he often does. Louis has brought back and consummated and killed almost 130 young men in this apartment. But something about Daniel f***ing Malloy, something retained his interest. I think it's the reporter, the journalist aspect of it. It was finally a chance for Louis to talk to a obviously we know he's biased now, because unbiased third party, right? Like, you're kind of more willing to spill your guts to a stranger than to somebody you might be like super like intimate and close with. But of course Armand is like stuck on this. It's like, I've loved this man for decades and decades. He hasn't given me an emotional glimpse into himself the way that he just did to you in one night. But that's kind of like Louis's recurring pattern, isn't it?
I'm bleeding down to my ankles.
Vera?
She's a single mother, works at a titty bar on Market Street.
Kevin?
She's a Vietnam vet who lives in the Castro with his Vietnamese refugee boyfriend with no legs.
You think in all these fools you'd arrived at some ineffable truth?
No.
Oh, is he
It's all bullshit.
An instinct to self-efface. Is that what makes you fascinating?
Yes. I'm good at getting angles. Getting people to open up. I can't feel my body. It's freaking me out.
No. You're going to teach me how to be fascinating.
Bro, that's a hell of a job interview, ain't it? Tell me how to be as good as you, kid.
Leave him be, Armand.
Oh, God.
In middle school, you stole your dad's Playboy magazine, sold them at recess.
Here we
A
go.
little dirty, a little deceitful, but it's enterprising. Is that what makes you fascinating? In high school, you told a girl you'd only do her if she had a paper bag over her head. She agreed, and you did it even as she cried. A splinter of coldness in you. Is that what makes you fascinating?
My legs are starting to cramp.
Even his transgressions are ordinary, Louis. The pinhole's closing back up.
Okay, it's you who's fascinating. You can read minds, right?
Louis thinks I'm boring.
Charlie Horse left leg.
Do you find me boring? Do you want to hear my story?
Yes.
My first memory, I'm being run down by slavers in Delhi. My second, An eager black hole.
What, Daniel?
I'll keep digging.
An eager black hole. Was he talking to him? No, I think he was talking to Daniel in that regard. Fascinating sentence structure there, and I can't quite pinpoint what direction he was throwing that in.
But I'm not hopeful there's much more to you, Daniel.
Dude, let the man sit. Dude, his legs, man, come on.
I was in Zhelezhnegorsk to interview an operative for the KGB. Halfway through, I tried to go to the bathroom. He'd locked me in. I was the one being interviewed.
Your point?
No point. Other than your boyfriend.
Rage is an imprecise emotion. I'd hurt him, but I was...
Rage is an imprecise emotion. Again, the pot calling the blackest of kettles black here. Not a racial comment, by the way. I'm just saying the expression, like, of him of all people to be saying.
Spiro Agnew.
Vice President Spiro T. Agnew may be close to resigning in light of ongoing investigations.
How many days was he in there? Are we gonna maybe suggest, because dude, are we gonna have a Hodor moment? Did Daniel Malloy develop Parkinson's because of this spasmodic muscle and nerve and blood torture Armand put him through? Is his disease because of that Armand? Because literally, like put him into a state where he had never-ending Charlie horses, kept contorting his body, throwing him around the apartment. He couldn't feel parts of his body. He was trying to, like, right there gain hand motion back. Dude, what if? Oh, dude. Can you imagine what if at the table the triggering of his Parkinson's wasn't Louis, but it was Armand, who was still like fake Rashid in the room? I think we're gonna get a Hodor moment. Like, he's the reason he has this ailment.
Present evidence to a Baltimore grand jury.
Saturday.
That's my tinfoil
It was
hat
Saturday,
theory.
but we met on Tuesday.
Oh.
So I was the house pet for, what, 1, 2, 3, 4 days.
Jesus. I like how now that he's working through his trauma. I don't know if this is at Louis' behest or not. If it is, it's a kind notion. They've moved to the meditation room. Whenever Louis got triggered, he came back to the Zen garden or what have you to like crinkle his toes and such. Now we're in here to try to like unwind as we're unpacking the buried trauma, essentially.
Your boyfriend.
And I think Louis genuinely feels bad
was in
about
a trance of some sort.
I won't tell you why.
I don't know. I can't.
This is new for him
is
too.
Almost over. Try.
I won't say.
See, this is new for Louis too. Louis doesn't remember any of this or even know what was happening after the state he was in during all of that. So he's as anxious to find out what's going on as he is. Oh my God. Yeah, that's that genuine look of Louis. Dude, like Louis and Daniel team up or whatever against. There's some secrets. Like Armand, this is a powerful vampire. Who knows what he's been. What we've known already: deceit, lies. There was torture, kidnapping.
Try. You were there.
Go back to the chair. The TV.
His feet in the rock is bullshit.
You're in the chair.
No.
The TV is on.
Let it work.
Coffin. Yeah, it's you. You keep saying coffin. My nose is bleeding.
Some service stations may be charging less for gas this
Where are you? The painted bag. It's like I'm still burning. Armand, put me in the coffin.
Like I'm still burning.
Thank you.
Rest.
Oh, he tried. He tried, buddy. Jeez. Too powerful for his own good. Knocked him out from the other room. Oh my God.
I listened to the tapes. All of them twice. The start. Claudia, the start, le start.
All I talked about him was trash.
Yes, you said that. But why? It's not exactly how you've talked about him to me. Did I catch you in a fantasy where the boy somehow fumbles his way to publication? While Lestat strolls past a bookstore, your book displayed in the shop window,
Catches
while he
his
buys
eye.
himself a copy, reads your nasty embellishments, and comes chasing after you again.
This game playing for centuries.
If you wanted escape from this prison of empathy, I've locked you away in. All you had to do was ask, Louis.
It's a good point. It's very similar to season 1 when they had like him and Lestat were having their whole like shaky waters won't take you back, and then he literally like makes like, because he knew it would get to him, he records that record of Come to Me with the female vocals of like the other gal that he's seeing and sends it to Louis, and sure enough lures him right back in, and the cycle like continues. And that's him. The way that he was talking to Daniel Malloy as the interviewer and into the recording is almost as if he was talking to Lestat himself. He says these things thinking, nay, hoping that perhaps one day it all does get publicized, and then Lestat, yeah, walks by a bookstore as a purveyor of the arts, sees the book, reads the book, and then boom, there we are.
The final act of service I'd like to perform before I leave you to yourself.
Damn.
I know where he is. I found his voice among the many.
No.
I told him I was with you.
Oh, is he coming? Are we gonna see Lestat?
No.
I told him you were thinking of him again. Lestat.
No.
Jeez.
Yes. I'm here.
He's waiting for you. I'm with him now. He cannot hear you. He has injured himself.
Louis.
No.
This is your chance, Louis. I am your maker's voice.
Louis.
Louis.
Mon cher.
Mon cher.
You wanted to say something to me.
You wanted to say something to me.
Why are you ill? What's happened to you?
Why are you ill? What's happened to you?
I love you, Louis.
Well, that one hurts.
Tell him I love him, Armand. I love you, Louis. Tell him, Armand.
Oh.
Tell him. Louis. Louis.
Phased him right out. Damn.
You was my mate. There's nothing more.
You left me for death. Will I be on suicide watch for the next 1,000 years? Have I atoned for my part of Paris? Have I crawled an inch forward? Or am I a reminder of the worst of it?
Have I atoned for my part in Paris?
I'll finish cleaning up. Rest.
Rest. Rest. He said that to me too.
Rest. Rest now.
Interesting
A
power.
bunch of words, but it started with rest.
Rest. And then?
And then? Would you kindly?
Would you kindly? Would you kindly get this? Would you kindly find that? Would you kindly find that? Would you kindly find it?
I've been calling to you for some time. From every bad fix. From the unnamed malaise you feel Sunday afternoons. And now here I am and you can rest.
I don't want to rest.
I'm the quiet you've been longing for. After all the garishness of life, the jostling, the clawing,
I like my life.
the dull thrum of desperation in you. Will I get the fixes I need? Will I be somebody? Will I get the fixes I need to be somebody? But Daniel, you already know who you'll be. An ugly duplex back in Modesto. A job in an office with drab carpets and flickering lights. A woman in the
Bro, who put Homelander on suicide watch?
mold of your mother.
I think you should jump.
Vacuuming on Valium. A genteel drinking problem like your father. Your wife counting down your thrusts. Your children shying away from you. All the confidence and hope of your youth replaced by a seething, boiling regret. Until one day, you're at a traffic light. The light turns green, horns honking. You don't move.
Haunting.
Horns honking.
Everything happening in the city. A bright young reporter with a point of view.
Shh. A comfortable chair. In a room that slants to the north. An easeful death.
No, resist, Daniel, resist. That's rough, though, because when I was in the lowest of my depressive spirals and suicidal ideation, it's very easy to go down that path. And it's before I became more of a, I don't know if you want to call it an optimist. I still have my pragmatic moments. The better part of a decade, damn. That's evoking a lot of emotion right there. I became a pretty hardcore nihilist for years, and it's very easy to fall into that that headspace where you write your story for yourself. Yeah. Sorry, God. Allergies are already bad enough, and now I'm thinking about all this. Yeah, it's so easy to go down that whole thing of like life is pointless. You're not gonna accomplish what you want to accomplish. It's gonna end. You get dead end 9 to 5er. You're gonna, if you do get family, they're gonna hate you, resent you. This is just it's all ends to the same thing, and it's all pointless. But oh, hang on. Oh God, my nasal passages.
It's okay.
God.
It's okay. It'll feel like a boss. Rest. Like honey on your tongue.
And again, it gets to that. Sorry to keep cutting off the dramatic tension here, but yeah, this is what it gets to a point. I'll be the first to admit I don't know if I'm like I need to get one of those little like tattoos or whatever, but the amount of times that I've like felt it feel like in your lowest moments, it feels like it's the easiest way out, and he's in this like insidious way he's appealing to that, because I don't know about anybody else. I'm sure some of you have felt it, but I felt it. It feels like that's the way out. There's no more pain, quick and easy and painless. And for me, the amount of times that I felt the cold steel of a barrel touch the roof of my mouth, and get ready to. But yeah. That's so unfair for him to be like throwing this up at him right now, though. But clearly, I mean, especially when you're younger, like Daniel, you're going to be in that headspace. I think a lot of young people, especially if you're in your 20s, I don't know how old Daniel is in this, but 20s probably, well, late 20s, early 30s probably, but that's when you're really like figuring all your shit out. And I mean, for me, that was like, yeah, a majority of my 20s has been trying to figure all this out. And that just seems like such like no pain. Like in like the earlier episode, no pain. You can just, it's, God. And even now, depression, like, you figure out how to deal with it, but it's almost foreign not to have it with you when you've had it for so long. And it's almost like an old friend that it can be so that it's not good for you, but you can just so easily welcome them back into your household, because that sickening sense became a dull comfort, and you're not even that, you're just so used to it that when you finally figure out a way to get past it, it's almost foreign and not to carry that with you every day. God. Anyway, let's let Daniel work through his trauma, huh?
It is the comfort we all long for.
Oh.
The end. Rest.
Stop. On mine.
Oh. He was gonna drain him,
I'm
kill
cleaning
him.
up the mess.
Doesn't need cleaning.
After what you've put me through here, I deserve this.
I know. But I need this one to live. It's a testament to our companionship, of its endurance. This boy to live out the night.
Are you asking, Maître?
No.
Maître, there it is again.
I'm not asking.
But again, our very similarities between Armand and Lestat, right? Armand and Lestat, both people that are very powerful people unto themselves, more powerful than Louis, but that connection between them and Louis is so strong, and there's so much care and compassion, the things they'll do for him, going against their very nature. Lestat turning Claudia for him out of love, right? Like, that's the real power that Louis seems to have. I'm not sure if Louis is aware of what he has when he sometimes wields it. And even right here, after all of this, Armand being the most powerful person in this room who could do whatever he'd wanted to do, but because Louis is the master of his heart. And here he is, just like that. The decision he'd already committed to on a matter of his own moral principle, he then foregoes because of Louis. That's powerful stuff. Dude. Daniel Malloy over here. About to Jedi mind trick him. He just saved your life. Armand didn't do it. It was Louis. Louis saved his damn life.
Daniel?
There's a stronger bond there than I think either of them realize.
Page 484. Listen as though I'm the voice of God or an angel talking to you, telling you this room doesn't matter, this night doesn't matter. You're not inconsequential or a junkie. You're a bright young reporter with a point of view. There are stories that need to be told. If things ever get bad again, these are the words you'll hear in your mind like a tape playing over and over, like a song stuck in your brain. These words will hold you up and carry you. They are your lifeline.
And he told him those words.
That's a freebaser I befriended for a few days at the drug den. He told me to get my shit together, and then he Richard Pryor'd right in front of me. Everyone scrambled, but I stuck around, watched him burn. What always confused me was that, you know, he said those words to me, and he was already all burnt up. Figured I'd conflated the two events, but I didn't, because it was you. I destroyed 2 marriages. I f***ed up 2 daughters. But I stayed a journalist. I was never so lost I couldn't hold down a job.
We, I think, gave you more drugs, distorted it all in your mind, fed you a truncated version.
He bit you.
He bit me.
You blacked out.
I blacked out.
Yep.
You woke up in a drug den.
I woke up in a drug den.
And then Tom Oscar got the pictures.
You blacked out.
Armand fogged my brain,
He bit you.
redacted himself, which accounts for why I didn't remember.
Yeah.
And what accounts for why you didn't.
I was disfigured. I was in pain.
But you remember right up until when you bit me. And I remember right up until when you bit me.
It's Armand.
And then both our memories cut out.
Redacted
Same
by
precise
Armand.
edit on 2 brains.
Well, well, well. Shared trauma here, huh? And so the rift begins to form. Oh,
How
God,
was your
get out of
lunch?
here.
Entertaining. He made it all the way to Burj Khalifa. How's Paris?
Reminisced about San Francisco.
Oh.
And?
What started with Daniel. He asked why you saved him in 1973.
I could see you were partial to him. I preserve your happiness even when you don't or can't. I had a hunch. Daniel might prove fruitful.
Again, look at that. Oh, this bastard. Like literally, like a rehearsed carbon copy line. The exact same answer he gave earlier, he gives now. Like just, oh, hang on. Ding, and then just like repeat the exact same thing. This is like reading a document from the Federal Bureau of Control, and then we found redacted in the redacted before we found out that the redacted and Armand saved the day. Like,
in later times.
Interesting. And here he is. And here he is, proving fruitful in later times. All part of Armand's, like, as so saith Armand. as was predicted. Interesting. Leave that up there for sure, by the way. Yeah, because both kindred spirits, I suppose, both Daniel Malloy and Louis have at some points in their lives, and even up to present perhaps, have struggled with suicide or suicidal ideation. As somebody who also has, and I discussed this a bit, a few times in my watch through of Succession. As somebody who has been there, I mean, how else do you say it? Don't. For years and years, there were moments where I thought, like, it'd be the easiest thing. It's what I wanted. It's what I craved. Sometimes it just seemed hopeless. You get lost in the cycle of just your own thoughts, and you let the world get into your head. You let yourself get into your head, and it can. And as somebody who's been mere, like, an extra ounce of pressure, and there's many times. There are many, many, many times that could have resulted in me not being here today and having these conversations I've been having. So, yeah, these resources exist. More people than you ever will realize can be there for you or are there in some degree. And even if you don't have a support system like that, if you're not lucky enough to, there are other resources. Change comes from within. I don't mean to get on a soapbox here, but I can't claim to save any lives, but if I can help at all, I would say that for years I thought that therapy wouldn't work on me. I thought that it would be pointless because I was too broken. And somebody, a friend of mine who, she probably said the smartest thing she could have said, which was like, "Oh, so you're too good for it?" And I was like, "No, what are you talking about?" She's like, "Well, if you think therapy can't work for you, clearly you're saying you're too good for it." She reverse psychology the shit out of me. And maybe in a way she also could. She was one of the dominoes that ended up saving my life. So therapy was the start, which gave me tools, and it didn't fix it. It won't fix it. But talking helps. Talking helps a lot more than I ever thought it would. You talk about it, you get the tools you need, and then it's all about how you then approach. It's internal. I didn't start to truly feel better until I changed how I viewed myself, how I viewed the world, how you choose to react and handle the things, and you forge away. What is it? Joel Miller said it best.
I struggled for a long time with surviving. And no matter what, you keep finding something to fight for.
Although I still have, I'd be lying if I said I still didn't have depressive episodes. I have bad days, but I haven't wanted to. Oh, God. This is a heavy episode. Yeah, I haven't felt the desire or need to take my life in a long time. So, anyway, let's get some behind the scenes, huh? God, I gotta blow my nose at some point. Some people might think it's BS, but talking won't solve your problems, but it does help, and there are resources. And just don't do it. Coming from a guy that used to say, "Okay, yeah, whatever, don't do it. Whatever, it's the best option." No. And it hits even deeper. I mean, both on a sympathetic level for these characters that are all going through their own struggles. But if you've ever experienced that before, or if you've ever been in that similar headspace, then yeah, if you let it get to you, then God, that's on an empathic level, that is painfully relatable.
Episode 5, Don't Be Afraid, just start the tape. It explains the past, it explains the relationships, and it explains the betrayal.
In season 1, we saw the original meeting in the bar of young Malloy and Louis in San Francisco.
With the normal pupils.
We're back with that same trio. Louis and Malloy have returned to the apartment in San Francisco, and we see this interview play out.
Own a lot of things.
Interesting verbiage there as well. Since Armand calls him Matra, and he says, "I own a lot of things." There's some little bit of potential connotation there. It's also been one of those episodes where I'm so transfixed by what's going on that one forgets to take notes, you know?
Recreating 1973 was a lot of fun. And those of us who know something about that era just sort of laugh at everything
Yeah.
from the clothes to the hair, and every detail, every prop, every set dressing has to be right.
It was great. I love it.
This went through many permutations, but basically it's a beautiful 70s backgammon board.
Hell yeah.
Rebuilt to handle all the drugs, all the fun and games that Louis is offering to Malloy
Fun and
in
games.
the 70s.
It was actually the first thing we shot this season. It was like shooting a little play, really, because you're in the one set for the whole time.
At first blush, it is a one-off episode, and yet it explains everything that's happened up till then, and more importantly, everything that's going to happen.
It was really fun to revisit that dynamic with the younger Daniel. It was amazing to work with Luke, having seen up close Eric's Daniel.
Unbeknownst to me, when we met in New Orleans, before we even started shooting anything, I didn't realize that he was watching me and planning a strategy on how to play the younger me.
Some of the stuff that Luke was doing, I was like, that's Eric. That's Eric.
Actors studying actors, play younger versions of actors.
In 73, Louis has a real fondness for Daniel. He likes him, he's cool. That's why Daniel lived as long as he did.
We have these two guys in Dubai who, with the help of the Talamasca, they start trying to piece together what happened.
And I love how it's like this relationship is almost being like rekindled there. That's all been disrupted on a set path by Armando.
It's intense for me. Having watched it, it then informs everything that I am doing in later scenes.
The relationship between Armand and Louis was very up and down. Louis, as much as he wants to say that this relationship cured him of his malaise.
But also, is that because you got to talk about your feelings and your history, or did you sense a genuine kinship to like this young, intrepid reporter? There is a reason he wanted to save his life by the end there. But again, I think part of it is fed by that, but it might just be me like looking at like his worst nature.
Clearly has all kinds of problems. Many of the same issues he had when he was with Lestat have resurfaced.
Armand is always conniving. He's always working. And I think that's also the tragedy of him, is that he can't ever relax with the truth.
I don't blame him too much either. I don't condone his actions, but he's, once again, the beautiful thing about this show is these characters are all victims of their trauma, and that's just replaying out over and over again. Literally, like every character, whether it's Louis, whether it's Lestat, whether it's Claudia, Daniel Malloy, in this case Armand, because Armand has had quite the, as we delved back into, to quickly confirm from the last episode, he has had a very, very, very traumatic upbringing that would cause a variety of issues, like being used, like sexually, physically, donated, basically. So being used, being bought, sold, being treated as if he was like property in all this and all these years, then being given all this power, and now being cursed to live eternally in this body. Well, some vampires see it as a curse, and like he said, he's been given a job, a responsibility, this power that he claims he doesn't want. So he's like a reluctant vampire who's like, if you believe his story, forced to lead, forced to usher his coven to a brighter future and tomorrow and all this jazz. We all have a habit, like a tendency to do that though, right? Is to kind of repeat trauma enacted on other people due to either our insecurities or our fear of similar situations. I've made mention of a previous bad relationship that I had for years and kind of still lingers in the back of my mind, and I fear it might come back to bite me in the ass again. But the gist of it is that due to the physical and mental abuse that, that she suffered from her romantic partner in the past, is that she would assume the worst out of everybody, and sometimes that meant I would get the short end of the stick. And then if I tried to set boundaries, she would claim that I was trying to control her like he would.
It's kind of the biggest betrayal, isn't it? When you choose to spend your life with somebody, you accept each other. I can't think of a bigger betrayal than lying to that person. in such a significant way, to the extent where you would rewrite their history. It makes me angry now. Armand is so wrong for that.
We
Talk about
both
somebody
discover the
rewriting your
depths
history.
of duplicity that Armand has gone to and what he's done to each of us.
Up to this point, the Malloy-Louis dynamic is adversarial. It is really this kind of amazing moment of connection between the two of them.
Jacob has said it. Louis doesn't have any friends.
They are your lifeline.
And Daniel doesn't have any friends. So if they have any friends at all, maybe it's each other. There's an odd couple for you.
Yeah, I love that dynamic. I love that moment. That was about to make it, like, literally, if like Daniel was starting to feel that emotion in the moment, if that had gotten to him right there, oh, I mean, you already saw the waterworks this episode, but if he had broken down, oh my God, I would have been gone. Armand saved his life? I don't think so. It was such a kind of weird back and forth. Armand did save his life for a moment, and then Louis ended up ultimately saving his life. Revelations are at hand. That's a lot to process. Like I said at the beginning of the season, always controlling the narrative. But to what end? It's so weird because it seems ultimately like it's all self-serving. Like it's Armand like rewriting the narrative, and he's both accommodating Louis', I shouldn't say request, nay demand. Like, are you requesting I spare him? It's like, are you asking like, no, I'm not. I'm telling you as your matre to like let him go, and he does. But then the inverse of that is then Armand is like, okay, I'll let him live, but I'm going to rewrite both your brains so none of us remember this unfortunate little period of our life. Louis will not remember his attempt and all the trauma that comes with that. He'll just remember it as like, oh, I got a little bit out of control, and Armand helped me clean it up. And then, of course, Daniel will block it all out and only remember as far as Louis remembers as well. Did Armand want any of this to come back up at all, though? It's weird. Me thinks the lady doth protest too much. When he was talking to Daniel, he was like, yeah, Louis called you back here, again, like much to my chagrin, to further conduct this interview. And yet now multiple times, Armand's rehearsed, scripted exact words are, I saved your life as I could tell you two had a kinship and that he could prove useful down the line. Here he is, taking down this story that has been redacted and rewritten and like cherry-picked and like King James Bible edited to fit this narrative. I feel like Armand is like playing up this facade of, oh, I don't want this story to get out. And yet here he is, like carefully, like he said, conniving, always conniving, carefully trying to edit and tailor and control the narrative. Quote, we will have him saying what happened next before you know it. But now it's very interesting. And now we've both remembered. We've broken through the trauma. Are we going to tell Armand that we remember that we've broken through the trauma? Are we all going to play dumb, play along? And now Louis has this rift of doubt that is formulated, this new kinship as both men are older and wiser to Armand's act. How will things proceed? Also in the 70s now, confirmed, Lestat is, as we were pretty well aware, alive and somewhere out there and still loves Louis. Of course he loves Louis. Those sea of vampiric voices is to be believed and to get through that, which, by the way, like all those voices he pushes through and finds Lestat right there. Of course he could. He's the most powerful one there. Lestat's just out there, and it's the one thing he couldn't get across to him, the one thing he couldn't bring himself to say. Like, one final gift, you can speak to your lover through me. And then he's like, tell him I love him, and he's like, I can't do it. Like, oh man, the layers to pick apart in these characters. If you want to follow me on the gram, the social medias, I'm still doing my giveaway. I'll announce the winners when I upload the final episode of Interview with the Vampire onto I guess Patreon first, then YouTube. But there's still time. There are entries that have been submitted, but there aren't like a ton. So if you want your chance to win one of those prizes, like easy peasy lemon squeezy, then go to the page. You can unfollow afterwards, but go to the page whenever I'm gaming, either me or me and my gal pal. We're on twitch.tv/MovieMan101. Of course, those VODs do make it to YouTube, but if you ever want to catch us live, that's the best way to do it. Heavy episode, fantastic episode. Revelations, truths are at hand. Still love this show. Just a lot to unpack. Thank you guys and gals so much for watching, and stay tuned for the next episode of Interview avec le Vampire. I don't think I have anything else to say. I'm kind of at a loss for words. I'm having to process a lot of emotions right now. Hopefully I didn't miss anything. If I did, please let me know. Let's have the conversations below. If I missed anything, if I'm neglecting anything, if there's any fun facts or trivia or anything you want to fill me in on, by all means put it all down there. I see the comments as they come through. I think I avoid the spoilers for the most part. For the most part. Suffice to say that once I catch up with both seasons, I'll probably really go through all the comments in a retrospective video as we collectively prep for season 3, and we'll actually like I'll discuss comments, probably respond to some on YouTube, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and I'll take a few hours to do that in a fun little live stream. We'll see. But in the meantime, thank you guys and gals so much for watching, and stay tuned for the next episode. Love you all. Thank you so much for the support. You being here on YouTube is more than enough, by the way. Thank you for 5,000 subscribers on YouTube. Never thought I'd see the day. It's awesome. Here's to many more years of this and you guys. And yeah, thank you. And like I said at the beginning of this episode, stay safe. Take care of yourselves. It was okay the first time. I mean, okay is a bit of a stretch. We all made it through the first time. We'll make it through again. This too shall pass, but have a good night.